Good.
Yep, now we're good.
We'll call the May Water and Wastewater Utilities Commission meeting to order. Start out with a roll call.
Alderperson Lubno.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
Commissioner Engel.
Here.
Holman.
Here.
Franks.
Here.
Casper.
Here.
And Bushky.
Here. Next on the agenda is citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments? We have none, so we'll move on to the approval of the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the minutes from the April 9th commission meeting and both the water and wastewater bills. And what we normally do on this is take a motion and a second, then we have discussion.
Also motion.
So a motion and a second by Holman. Is that correct, Joel? So any discussion or questions on the bills?
The only thing I have is a Skag lawnmower. Is that a new one replacing an old one, or is
Yeah, we
was that a
sold-
budgeted item?
Yeah, that was in capital last year. We
Okay.
sold the two 72s and I think it's working out pretty good to not to corner around trees and everything we got stuck on
Right.
before.
So how much each utility paid $7,000 towards that?
Yes.
And then on services, Carolyn Street curb box, what happened there? $575.
I believe that was one that a plumber couldn't get.
Was rusted off.
Yeah, the belt was
We didn't
rusted off
take
and
it,
they
it
couldn't
was
get
all busted and
access.
rusted off.
New construction?
Did they back that one too? Did our guys, our sewer crew back that one too, or that was a different, that was
That was a
Main Street?
different one.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, we'll take roll call on that.
Alderperson Lubno. Newman.
Yep.
Commissioner Engel.
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Franks.
Here.
Casper.
Aye.
Bushky.
Aye.
Say.
Gino got his eyes and his ears mixed up there. Next is water reports, which consists of well and distribution system report and discussion.
All right, for water report,
That one, we take the report first and then our.
did you guys, did any of the introductions, or is everybody okay, or we, I don't know if
Could
that,
do that.
sorry.
We all know each other, right?
Yep. I know all these people.
Okay. All right.
Joel, Jesse, and Ken. I guess as long as we're going there, well, let's wait till later.
They might not know who Tim is, these people, could introduce him.
Tim is he's our water guy. Courtney's right-hand man on the water department.
Everybody been thoroughly introduced? Okay.
That's Courtney
Yeah.
and Nicole. Nicole's the brains of the organization.
Interchangeable, they call us both names and we both answer. so
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I know, right? All right, water report. Both hydrant flushing and valve turning have started. We anticipate a mid-June completion for flushing. Valve turning will continue until fall flushing likely. Both the annual audit and PSC report are complete, so you should be seeing the audit within the next couple meetings here for both utilities. Our water loss ended up at 16% after some additional information was added. We started at 11. Additional metering information and things like that got us at 16, which is national average of water loss. So,
Does that hurt us in the report at all?
no, if it was an issue, it was kind of funny because the proof that they sent me that I looked up, I almost like gasped and fell over. My PDF
They still like
copy,
to see it under 10%.
I don't think Mabel's ever seen under 10%.
They've been around there.
Was it? Well, with the infrastructure we have too and the aging, I don't know that we'll see that anytime soon. The initial PDF came through as 96% water loss, so I about fell over, but it's all good. It's submitted as 16. Their rate case hearing was held on 5/1. No public comments were filed. We should be getting word on adjustments coming in the next couple days here for rates. UCMR 6 contaminant rulings by the EPA will require additional testing from our water department as well. This is something that EPA sends a sample kit. It's free, it's just additional work, and they're monitoring for things like additional PFAS rulings, requirements, and likely using them for setting limitations in the future.
So they don't tell you what you're testing for, they just send you a
Well,
bottle?
UCMR 6 is like 6 different contaminants, PFAS being one of them. I don't really remember the rest of them, but they're all the hot topic ones that you see in the news every once in a while.
Unregulated contaminants.
Yeah, anything unregulated is what but they don't really give us a heads up prior to that. I mean, PFAS being the hot topic on the news all the time is going to be one of those, without a doubt. We haven't seen the kit quite yet, but we know it's coming, so we don't know how involved this is yet.
3 days with the testing.
3 days of testing. All right, the iron filter for well 4 should arrive within the next couple of weeks here as well. There will be some road closure for the installation, and we will coordinate with police department on that. I don't remember exact weight. I think it's somewhere around 6 tons this filter is gonna be. They don't think they need full road closure. I would kind of prefer it when they're craning 6 tons backwards over a building and
What
through power
direction is it
lines.
coming from?
What direction?
Yeah, Milwaukee, Green Bay, Iowa? I don't know.
Oh, I don't, yeah, I
It's
don't,
being built out west, I believe it's
Where?
Nevada, Utah, it's out west, West Texas. Was one of the companies, I'm not quite sure where it's coming from, they're manufacturing it somewhere.
just the
all
installation with how
west.
they have to do it is crane over power lines back in the back of the building and put it on skids through the back. So I'd kind of prefer a full closure if,
Because I thought the company we purchased that from was in Iowa. No,
I don't know where
Tonka's out
they're
of
at.
Minnesota, so,
no, this is a Tonka.
yeah. But I'm not sure where they're well, there's only like 2
Yeah.
companies that
Yeah, General is
manufacture.
out of Iowa, you're right.
So does the medium come in it then? No.
They'll add it afterwards. So they'll design the media for our water quality, just like layers based on our water quality parameters. So it'll be a mixture of larger rock, green sand, anthracite, pretty much. Any combination of those. The well and iron filter contract negotiations, we haven't been extremely successful with. We discovered some flaws with their contractual obligations, and now they've been unresponsive. So this is something, if you guys want to bring back to the next meeting, they've just stopped responding altogether.
Is the flaws on our side or their side?
No.
Their side.
So one thing I found in the contract, we've never been provided reports for any of these iron and well filter contracts. So I did get those out of them, at least a portion of them. What would you say, like 20 of them maybe?
Maybe,
And then some of the contract as it reads, it contradicts itself. In one portion, they call the services that they're gonna provide semi-annual, and then the description is annual. So by contract, they owe us twice a year instead of one. But what we want them to do is pull well 4 on startup. Like they're obligated to pull all the wells in the last year of the contract. We're in year 8. All we want to do is swap year 10 for year 8, pull the well when well 4 goes online. And I mean, it seems reasonable to us. They were agreeable a couple months ago and now they won't answer.
Is the electrical ready for the well at well number 4 for the pump?
No.
Then they can't do it.
Well, they can't do it. So we're asking
there'll
for
be power,
July.
there's power there,
Yeah.
power is there,
Controls
MCC.
aren't there.
But
No,
they can run that, they can direct wire that and bypass that
Okay.
around, they don't need that MCC panel.
Okay.
it's all.
And all
it's
we're gonna
all
do is run that well and bypass everything and just run it to waste.
But if you want to start this up in September, you should have this moving forward pretty
Right.
quick here.
right.
We can't do
Well,
nothing
our
until the parts
contract
get here.
also reads that nobody else but their company is allowed to touch it.
So,
So,
well, so,
yeah, nobody else
Yeah, we
is allowed to
can't,
touch
we're bound by
that.
contract to use them. And they won't respond.
Well, you just have to stay on them.
You call and they must see your number, they don't even answer, and she emails
You
twice,
get-
3 times a
Yeah,
week.
everything documented too, so.
I know they're trying to get out because it's gonna cost way more money now to do in the last year what they
Well, we
said they were
discuss
gonna
this
do.
every month, they're not keeping up their end of the bargain.
No,
And,
so,
well, we were actually forewarned about this 2 years ago, and they said they may just disregard it altogether.
Mm.
Go ahead and come after us.
But our value is in those well pulls. What is that, a $30,000 service pull per well?
I couldn't tell you offhand,
Somewhere
but I
around that
mean,
price point that we've paid for over the course of the last 10 years.
I
But they
was-
didn't see a huge, economic increase coming too, where everything costs
Do we owe
more.
them any money yet?
Well, it's holding
The
it.
bill for this year's services, we
You
did
hold
not,
on to
I
that,
held
and
it,
give
yep.
them a diamond thing, get some stuff.
There's a do not pay on that one. It's about $40,000 in the contracts, so.
I know Pete forewarned me a couple of years ago already, he said, but it's because it's been sold off so many times.
Mhm.
And he says, just forewarning you, they may not honor the last years of the contract and they may say, go ahead.
So
Okay,
what we
maybe
You
need,
should explain to the three new members what we're talking about here.
Well, so 8 years ago, we had a contract with this company to maintain our wells. And all the language was in there. And the company has sold off,
3 times
Sold off.
in the last
Sold
4
off.
years, yeah.
and so then it was a 10-year contract. So at the time, 8 years ago, we thought it was a smart thing to do, and now we're finding out they're not gonna, we're having trouble getting them to fulfill the contract.
Yeah, we reminded them, they didn't do any services in 2023. And then we called them early January of 24. So they came and did some of their obligations from 23, but in 2024, they didn't do it within their contract year. So this is all, checklist items that we're
And
documenting out of contract.
the well company can't come till they get a work order from the parent company.
Which the parent
And the
company
parent
is
company's
terrible
been
at
sold
providing.
off and they won't give a
What
work
is the
order.
company now?
It's
Now it's called
USG,
USG.
but it was, yes, it's been to
Veolia.
USG. It was Veolia and it was Suez prior to that.
Well,
And
when
it
it
was,
first originally started, it was,
Water wells,
Water
yes,
wells,
out of
yeah.
Salford.
what is
utility
Uh,
service.
Yeah,
And
Mapleton.
Mapleton,
So
right?
they're a subcontractor to this parent company anyway. So they subcontract water wells to do the work for them, but they're not paying water wells the value of the service. So water wells doesn't want to come out and complete the work.
We tried to get them to come and perform the service last year and they said, we can't come, we're not coming without a work order from whoever the parent company is.
Mhm.
Because if we don't get a work order, they're gonna say, we ain't paying you. So it's a big chasing guys around.
So we've talked about it before. They seemed like they were agreeable to start with, and we threw a couple of contract flaws at them, and they don't want to talk anymore. So it might be time, if you guys want to bring that back, or if you want to just proceed with that, that might be time for attorney review of contract.
So are we able to run well for when it's time? We want to put this online in September? Why not?
Well, it's all gotta be flushed. That thing hasn't been run 2 years. That's gotta be chlorinated. We gotta do work. They gotta get results so we know what kind of media we're gonna put
You
in
mean
this
without
thing.
the well being pulled?
Yes.
Is that what, okay.
We could run it without the well being pulled. We can, but we still gotta do chlorination and get everything ready to
Well, this
go.
iron filter setup is not being done by this company. That's just part of this contract with C.D. Smith.
Yeah, they
So
got
that
nothing.
has nothing to do with it.
No.
We've been paying that. They wouldn't let us. We've been paid. We got that filter contract is also as well.
Right?
We've been paying that for 2 years and that filter hasn't even been there because we asked. We don't want to pay it. We don't have a filter. It's in the contract whether we do work or not. We're paying it.
So we have to move forward, like that well's not gonna get pulled.
Well, either
I
that or
don't know
you
what
break
to do.
contract and you hire a separate contractor to pull that well prior to it, and everything's documented
So
along the
I just
line
hate to
as
see
far
us
as.
put this well online and we have to have this well pulled and then we shut it down again for months while they do this. That would be.
Yeah. Well,
Correct.
they're anticipating more like July, August, they could potentially push to distribution. They think they'll be online sooner at well 4 than they anticipated. So I asked for an early to mid-July timeline to pull that well, and that's why I need communications
Mhm.
sooner than later would be nice, but they're not responsive.
So you think of a letter from an attorney?
I think so,
Yep, see what push comes to shove.
yeah.
If
Certified,
not, we'll just drop them all together and go on our own.
well, yeah, and we got $40,000 in a contract that we were gonna pay this year that we don't have to.
You know, the company that bought these guys out found out they bit off more than what they can chew.
Mhm.
Well,
Money-wise.
I think nothing would make them happier than us to walk away.
Right.
Because when they signed that contract 10 years ago, in year 10 to pull that well, they probably figured 2 to 4% per year increase. That isn't the case.
They were-
From 10 years ago to now, it's probably 40% more.
Within
And
their
they don't wanna
contract,
do
it
it.
allows them up to, they even wrote their own contract that it allows up to a 5% increase, which 5% is not what inflation has.
It ain't even gonna get them close to what it's gonna cost to pull them out and put them back in.
Well, I say we go the attorney route now already, you know, July is just around the corner.
Yeah,
And put it back on the agenda for next month. Let us know where they're at.
okay. Next month, June already? Okay. All right, any questions for water?
Anything for water? Next is wastewater, system report and discussion.
All right, we passed the most recent whole effluent toxicity test, which, by any means, we test to see that by DNR regulation, that the fish will survive in the river with the water that we add to it. So our fish are alive.
First time we passed?
No, last year was we had a fault in I don't know, and we had to do it monthly. So we usually have to do it twice a year. So the first round we passed, I don't think I've ever seen better numbers in our, we passed with flying colors this time. The retaining wall at the admin building, Mike, you saw some of the destruction.
What's going on there?
It was removed. So there was a block retaining wall installed in front of the admin building the early 2000s, somewhere in there. Well, every winter it separates about 6 to 12 inches more, and it's like a leaning tower. So it got
It's just
pushed
ready to
over
take
as
over.
to not to fall on somebody driving up or pulling weeds or.
Took your buddy Jody all summer to build that thing.
Don't make me feel bad. Don't make me feel bad.
We wanted to take pictures and send them to them.
No. And then just as we had last month, our breakers within the treatment plant, some here and there continue to trip. These are ones that our electrician is looking for parts. Luckily, the one that we did replace is one that runs the blower, so we do still have treatment. So some of the ones that are tripping now are like lights and heaters and things like that that are becoming weak within the old plant. So I'd rather have it be a light bulb than a blower. So he's looking some piecework. I think Selno is looking for
Tony's looking
some
around.
40-year-old breakers here and there to kind of make it through. UV lights have been installed for disinfection season. Fecal coliform and E. coli results have been good so far. The second bank is about ready, and it was time for parts replacement, and we can put those in service as well shortly. We kind of go through those about once every 2 years or so in a rotation, and fixing wipers, bulbs, blades, things like that through the system. Our facilities design is about 60%. We recently have gone through lab requirements and testing. There's an environmental company within the last 2 days. They're testing for lead and asbestos for demolition. We don't really expect to find anything, but it's part of the process of demolition, I guess, possibly in the 30s and 50s generation of the building that they might expect to find a little bit here and there. So the less we find, the better, because it's more remediation costs, and we're hoping for nothing. We anticipate a fall bidding and spring construction timeline on the plant project. MSA would like to be here next month to present an update at the June meeting then as well, and get everybody up to speed. And our land use agreements for plant access for the treatment plant project have gone through initial review, and were accepted. That was a closed session conversation, so that I'm not going to name any parties involved, but it will come back at next month's meeting as well to come to an agreement on accessing the plant through the northern portion of the property.
So what do you mean it's been accepted by both parties and just a matter of?
Well, yeah, the company, so we allowed our attorney to submit a proposal that we had here, and the second party accepted that proposal, or is. as
So
is.
everything looks good.
Everything looks good
They're
so
wor-
far.
Yeah,
Yep,
I think they've been real good.
very much, yeah, very much. We did receive response as well that our draft chloride plan has been accepted. We had some exceedances back, I don't know, over the last couple of years. Sometimes it's salt runoff in the winter. A lot of times there's industrial. We were working with one industry that is a large contributor. But they accepted our plan going forward, and the softener program helped. They'd like us to continue. In the future, they would like us to look at, again, we've talked about it in the past, adding a fee schedule, testing for chlorides, and if the companies are experiencing exceedances, that there is a penalty to what
Right now,
their
it's not.
effluent looks like. We don't have a chloride fee schedule, no. We've talked about it in the past. Our DNR rep said she's willing to work with us on what that looks like. I mean, you can't just pull a number out of the air, cost of treatment, but the letter, when you get a notice of non-compliance letter, though, it does warn on the back page that exceedances on our end cost, if you do nothing to remediate your problem, it's $25,000 per day fine from the DNR, so we're not gonna do nothing.
And it's not the company's problem, it's,
Right, we get the fine no matter who the contributor is,
Right.
so. I don't know, enough, it works for other things like phosphorus and, BODs, whatever they contribute.
Right,
They're responsible for and paying attention to their effluent quality. But we do meet with the company as well. I think it's the 22nd of this month to go over. It's a seasonal company, so it's hard to test throughout the year to see what they're contributing
they
because
should
they're
bring a
not
copy of
running.
that non-compliance letter with you and say,
Yeah, they've been great to work with too, so they've been
I
ahead
think
of
they'd
it.
even change some processes a little bit.
Yeah, but there's
To
lots of
try some
turnover
sort
We don't
there.
have automatic testing at these places. I know some of the factories and.
We do, yeah, we go
You do,
pick up,
okay.
yeah, we go
We
pick
are.
up, we have sampling locations at our industrial contributors.
Sure.
So we
How
go
many
pick
of them?
those up, 6.
6 factories.
Yeah, so cheese factory.
Yeah.
Some of the roads, okay.
So we go pick those up and test those, but there's one company that doesn't run year round, so it's,
Okay.
we can't, and that's the one that we usually have a little bit of issues with, so
With chlorides.
with chlorides, yeah, and that's it.
What do we treat
not the-
that with, Sorbex or?
No,
No, what do we treat that?
can't.
You
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
no, you would need like a,
Reverse osmosis.
yeah, reverse osmosis,
Oh.
microfiltration, which, Waupun, City of Waupun has an RO system, and it's, I don't know, probably bigger than this room, like just tube after tube of 40-foot tubes of microfiltration. But that was a pilot project for them years ago, and probably a couple $1 million project that was new to the industry. It's pretty cool, but nobody in that city has a water softener because of it, which is a nice added value. Yeah, it's not necessary. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, so we're working with them. We're not gonna be able to tell till startup, till process, but we're making sure we meet with them repeatedly and tour the plant, go through every process and see what we can do. But the DNR has been agreeable as well. So we're doing what we need to. And I would like to invite, I guess this applies to both, but new commission members, as they have in the past, to tour the facilities.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Before.
get a hold of
You
me,
guys
I'll
really
work
need
with,
to get down there and get
if it's Sunday morning, if it's whatever, just let me know what works for you and we can work something
It's really
out.
eye-opening, and just to see where it comes in, where it goes out, and everything that happens in between. There's a lot.
It's a lot going on there, but yeah,
We
just
had an open house here,
December.
December,
Mhm.
open to anybody in the community, and we had a
12 or
handful of people come through, but they all thought it was very well worth the time.
And wasn't, it's not what anybody expects, I guess. It's not what they're expecting to see.
Stinks.
I think everybody, yeah, everyone else. Mike, have you ever seen the plant before?
Well,
No, okay.
As
Just
a bonus,
checking.
the bunker.
Yep. And we have a Cold War bunker, so you can't see that unless you come by. I'm not seeing anything else, so we're good.
You?
I've been there.
Oh.
Have you? Okay. All right, yeah, and water process, treatment process, whatever you want to go through or see, we can take everyone around the boat, so. And I guess lastly, I'd like to thank Keith Lodwell for his service to the commission. His name was on the plaque dating back to the 1983 plant, so I know he's contributed a lot. I don't know what in between, because I've been here 4 years, but some pretty invaluable insight and knowledge that he's contributed to all these projects. So
Very much
thank
so.
you, Keith.
yeah, Courtney, I just got one question. I lost my train of thought there on the water report.
Yeah.
What's the status of the South Clark Street water tower being?
We just talked to them. We had a little bit of legal with MEC because they like to, they camp on site. So they come to these jobs and the tower painting company likes to camp on site. And I understandably so, it's a bit of a liability if it's MEC's parking lot and there's painters living on site for 5 days a week for
So that
4 to 6
equipment that's
weeks.
behind the tower on the west side, that's not our painters yet then?
No, so I think they're swapping jobs because we put a little urgency again, so
They
they're
swapped
coming
us
to
with
us
Brownsville.
before Brownsville. So as fast as they can get there and as fast as the weather
So
clears
they
up.
didn't give you no date yet then?
Beginning of June, he should be here. They
That's
wanted to
fortunate
be,
to have it done by corn season.
well, he told us 45 days, 45 to 60 days, so if he's here by mid-June, hopefully we're done by August.
Okay,
Well, they
June.
can either go to a campground.
I understand.
I think we're gonna squeeze them in the front.
Or they can go within the fence.
Oh. I think we'll squeeze them within the fence. They just wanna make sure they got 50.
I mean, it's a difference
service.
of about 6 feet from their property to our property on where you can park a camper, but I understand the
Oh,
liability
yeah.
and they're a big company, so one RV with 5 painters in it could,
They can't park that stuff inside the fence?
yeah,
That's
that's
just
our
general.
other, I mean, it's gonna it crowds them a little bit,
Yeah,
but they can get
okay.
creative, and that's,
We'll just give them water off that hydrant.
yeah.
And under wastewater, I had a question. What was going on at 408 South Clark Street? Look, there was a lateral problem there. Looks like somebody did some kind of suction with a vacuum
Yeah.
device.
Oh, curb stop,
Them curb stops are buried about 2.5 feet deep.
Well, that's what they had to get at, was the water box.
Yeah.
That wasn't a collapsed sewer.
Nope.
We had to shut the water off to that house because the valves were leaking in the basement.
Okay.
That was a tough one to find.
there's not on a lot of those, there's not when the plumbers go in there, they call us, so those valves are always broken, they fall off in your hand, pretty much.
Those gate valves.
Yeah, the old gate valves, they
Right.
just turn right off in your hands. And a lot of those services that come in, I don't know what the freezing machine is for the plumbers, probably this long or so. They don't have enough room to get on that pipe to freeze it. So we have to find the curb stop. And for whatever reason, most of Clark Street tops are gone and they're buried.
That one was actually all intact, but it wasn't good.
It was just down.
I think we raised it 26 inches. We put a pipe on, that's how far. We backed down a little over 3 feet to get it all.
Well, that probably happened because originally when them houses were built, there was no curb and gutter.
Yep, that's exactly what I said. When they kept putting the streets in, they just kept backfilling. I
All right, I was
was
just
assuming that
curious.
whole street's like that.
No sewer. All right, that's all I have.
Next is discussion possible action regarding regarding shoreline parcel 2341-078 drainage remediation agreement upon sale of property. This is one that we've kind of been kicking down the road here for
20
quite
years.
some time, and I think we need to put it to rest. Courtney, in your packet, the attorney has drawn up.
Yeah, the attorney agreement, I just got it today, so sorry, it came in an email, and then there's a printed version here on the agreement. Basically, what happened on this property, the original sanitary sewer was located on the east side of Shore Lane, between the homes and the roadway. 2000s, early 2000s again, is it 25 or so years ago? 2001. That sewer was moved to the west side of the property between the river and the backside of those houses. So what laid in front of those houses then was the abandoned sewer line. which essentially turned into then, it wasn't backfilled at
It
all.
wasn't bad, 'cause
It wasn't abandoned at all. It wasn't, I don't want to say properly, it just wasn't abandoned. So essentially that old sewer line turned into a storm drain, which
all the
ended up,
water collected.
all the water collected. It's old clay pipe and it was filling basements in that area. So we took and extended that, essentially what is a storm drain now, abandoned sewer, and we extended it with drain tile towards the river so that it didn't have that set end point, so that it could drain to the river. It is, we did that, I don't know, 2021, somewhere in there. It is now, it's a buildable parcel. So I guess the what if, the end all to this situation, the what if somebody wants to build a house there
You're saying the lot between Dave Posbrick
and the bridge?
and the dam?
Yep. Yeah, so if somebody would someday build a house there and that storm drain happens to be in the way,
Mhm.
basically, can the utility move it so that a house can be built there? That's,
Well, that is a developed lot for water, I know that for sure.
yes, it is. We did find the curb stop up a street or
That's
two.
right, there's two right next to each other, Dave's and then that one.
So it's a buildable lot. It can go on the tax roll if someone should choose to build there one day. We don't want to be the problem when they run into a drain tile though and, you know.
So basically what we're saying is, we create the problem, if and when it comes to building, we'll fix the problem.
Sure,
Correct?
it would go with the deed for that parcel, saying that we, you know,
Acknowledge the problem.
yeah, we acknowledge the problem, and if it should be in the way, when somebody submits plans to build that home, that we would move it at our expense. And it's, I don't
Yeah,
know,
it
what,
wouldn't
60
be that-
feet of drain tile?
Big a deal, yeah.
But I didn't think it paid to move it prior to knowing what, you know, if somebody builds there, you never know what they're gonna build. It could be 10
And
foot
it's
off the
working good now, that's the thing
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, there's no more water issues, I don't believe, in any basements. So that agreement that we drafted with the attorney would just go with the deed for the sale of the property if and when somebody should build a house there. And it stays with the deed and gets filed with the county.
Dave, is that your lot there?
It is. Well, obviously abstain from.
Any other questions or concerns on that? If not, I can just take a motion on approving the attorney's agreement.
So move approving the attorney's agreement as written to go ahead and add that, take care of the cost of that
When
property
and if it-
when and if it sells.
So we have a motion by Joe, second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Not, we'll take roll call on that.
Alderperson Levino.
Aye.
Newman.
Aye.
Commissioner Engel.
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Casper.
Abstain.
Bushki.
Aye. Next on the agenda is discussion possible, I guess, regarding water, wastewater portion and fee structures for occupancy application.
Threw a curveball at you. So we have an occupancy application when any new business opens up in the city of Mayville. Our portion of that, like they do a fire inspection to make sure it's safe. They do, I'm losing it. We make sure a cross connection inspection, is completed on the property, which we have a company now that does the backflow, the cross connection inspection. So usually they're on record and we don't have to put, now that we've kind of caught up, we don't have to put extra effort into hiring Bernard or hiring somebody else to hurry up and quick get in there so the business can open. We have them on file and then we verify that they don't have any high strength or any waste product that's going to be damaging to our system. So citywide, we redid the occupancy application and everybody will be soon reviewing their cost. This occupancy application, the total cost for this to file to start a business has been $20. I don't know since when. For example, I know if they need a fire inspection, the fire inspection costs us a heck of a lot more than $20. So we're bringing this is kind of, you know, going, I don't know, well-rounded within the city. And I didn't know if water wastewater wanted to contribute to any of this fee schedule. Currently, we do nothing. We don't charge anything. I'm fine with it either way. But just if we
So you're
wanted-
saying you want to charge possibly more to have our guys go out there and do the inspection?
No. There, if you want to put any fees associated with the application and the cross connections services, so the fees that we already do, if you want them to be part of that occupancy application or not, does that make sense? We do not supply any fees. We do not have any fees that come with that application. I mean, I don't think our cost is a ton. If we have to get somebody in there, if they're not already, verified with a cross connection inspection.
What is the name of the company that does our cross connections?
HydroCorp?
So you want them to pay for HydroCorp to come there? Is that
Well,
what you're asking?
it could go both ways. So if HydroCorp hasn't been there yet, sometimes I have to call in Bernard Plumbing to do a quick one, because HydroCorp comes once a month and does a regular rotation, a scheduled rotation. It's not necessarily meant for on the fly, I need one next week, Thursday, they want to
Do
open.
we know how many businesses we're averaging opening this is affecting?
I'd say like 8 to 10. For some
8 to 10
reason,
a year?
yeah, for some reason, like 2020 was like 20 to
was a lot.
25. It was a
It's a
lot.
lot.
It was strange, but it was a lot. You know, we don't have really, compared to the other departments, we don't really have a lot of costs to recoup on a regular basis, but it's a what if scenario. I'm fine either way with it. Our cost goes into the effort of
Sure.
finding the verification, the paperwork. HydroCorp's website is awesome for verifying schedules, the next
What's
due
our-
date.
What's our cost? Our cost?
Labor,
Rough estimate.
labor only, I'd say if we have to go back in and do re-inspections, it's probably between $100 and $150, depending on the square footage. But again, that's a what if they're already verified through that system,
Sure.
it's not as
How
much.
about if there's a building with more than one business in it?
It depends on the plumbing. So if the plumbing supply is,
Because let's just take, for instance, I see lavender nails, a big thing in the window
Yeah.
across from the Audubon Inn, coming soon. You're
Yep.
gonna have to have an inspection when you already have a lawyer's office, I believe, is in that same building.
when the, yeah, I haven't seen that application, that one specifically come through.
But you do it.
But yeah, you would. I mean, and it depends on the industry really too. If they're
And there's only
food
one meter in
services.
that building, if I remember right.
I-
Does that make a difference?
Yeah, if the meter supply is for, put it this way, when HydroCorp does an inspection, it's by meter. So if one meter is supplying a whole rented building with 4 unit, you know, it's A, B, C, and D, that inspection will cover, when he shows up, he'll cover the whole building and every occupied
So if
space
you just
within
did
there.
that, then lavender nails wouldn't have to have another inspection, right?
If we don't have any inspection
But it
on
depends
file,
what
we
was
call
in
it a
there.
new one.
Depends what was in there prior.
Yeah,
If it was a bread store or if it was a clothing store and now it's gonna be a nail salon using
mhm,
public water, I would highly recommend
Yeah.
inspecting that plumbing within that unit again.
yeah,
Because you don't want that cross connection. I don't know what they're gonna do for their coloring hair.
or if the band, or yeah, if they,
It
if
depends what
they
the
install
business is.
additional
It's gonna be, you
equipment,
know, if
things
they're
like that.
selling Legos, okay, he's gonna use the bathroom, but if it's a nail salon or you're using any kind of potable water, or you're gonna open a restaurant or whatever, in that part of that building, that should be re-inspected at that
Yeah, a
time.
restaurant would be a good example, like all your soda guns, your machines, things like that would each need to be individually.
What kind of gets us, I think, is when it turns into a rush job. When they want
always when
occupancy
it gets
permit,
us.
and Mark was just here, and it's gonna be another 60 days, and they wanna be in
Mhm.
20, well, then we got a
don't want to do that
contract.
business either, you
Yeah,
know?
correct, no, not
Someone
at all, not in the slightest, but to run properly without issue. I don't care either way, I really
Yeah, but
don't.
if we gotta call Bernard, we should at least
But
call
there,
those calls.
so in our circumstance, like a fire inspection, you're always gonna have a fire inspection. It's gonna be more for larger square footage, it's gonna be less for.
Well, last time
We don't
Bernard
always
was
put the same
$85
effort
an hour
into each
plus the
occupancy.
$25 trip charge.
Yeah.
You're over $100 already there.
Yeah.
Recent experiences, it's $120 when he leaves the shop to your place, and then the bill starts running. So
So we should be able to.
It's kind of a hit or miss thing, whether it costs us something. So I think a
Correct.
reasonable fee on this on every check
I mean, even
would
when,
cover the cost of the ones that cost us money. So if we put $20 or $50 on it,
Like a pretty
Would that-
nominal fee
would that
for
be fair?
administrative. And then this would, whatever you guys decide to do or not do would go to, it would move on to common council then for a full fee structure. But this is just our portion of it to review because
Yeah, we're at $20 now.
I feel like there's gonna, like an auction.
that's for everything.
Oh, that's for, not our portion?
That's not our portion,
Oh.
that's everything, right?
So yeah, the cost right now for everything, if you get an occupancy application and 7 different departments fill that out, the cost right now is $20 for the whole occupancy application with every
Yeah, that's hardly worth
inspection. Right,
Paperwork. you're
it's
doing.
not covering the
Yeah.
building
So it's
inspector,
gotta
it's
be
not
more
covering
than
fire
that.
inspection, it's not covering anything, so.
So if you build a house and maybe what are the total fees for?
Like
a
impact
fee
and
to death? I
connection,
mean, you got $170 or something for a building permit, the
Yeah.
$2,000
well,
connection.
yeah, and your impact and connection fees are gonna be, I've been told that we're extremely low, we can revisit that
They haven't been changed.
another time, they haven't been changed in a long time.
We don't put a fee on death. but-
Exactly, I don't wanna bring
Yeah.
every agenda item is fee, so.
I'd say, my
I like
personal
to move
opinion, if
to
you're
$100.
okay, leave it alone.
At least.
Let's leave it alone.
Sure. I think that, if you think about it, at least to cover our costs, $100. And we're still gonna have more costs into it, every business, $100. What I don't like to see is lavender nails per se. That's just an example. If what was in the
Yeah.
report doesn't need another inspection.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I think that. we
That's
need to
only
make
our
it-
portion, and the other
Yeah.
departments
like
are
why-
gonna, so it's gonna cost us $500 to open that. for a
That's,
deal.
yeah, that's, we gotta be business friendly, keep that in mind, and still
Yeah.
understand that some fees gotta go off.
I don't know the answer either, I just brought it here because it's gonna be coming up on council, so we need to do that ahead of council if you guys choose to add any, whatever you wanna call it,
I would like to
administrative.
move it to $100.
100, you said?
That motion?
So,
Do we have a second on the fees for the water and wastewater
Portion of occupancy application.
portion of occupancy application be $100? That's what I need a second of that.
I'll
If
say.
necessary, though,
No,
no,
no matter what.
no matter what.
with the thought that some are gonna be more, some are gonna be less.
Okay.
So I have a motion by Joe and a second by Gino. Any further discussion? We'll take roll call on that.
Alderperson Lebo,
Aye.
Newman,
Aye.
Commissioner Engel,
Aye.
Holman,
Aye.
Franks,
Aye.
Casper,
Aye.
Bushki.
Aye.
And again, that'll go through common
Okay.
council with additional fees and things like that, but just our,
Yeah, it might get to that point where they're saying, council's gonna say, well, these.
Yeah.
So
when
they-
it all adds up together, who knows it's gonna be, but this is the recommendation for water wastewater.
Motion to adjourn.
I think you missed one.
Oh, discussion possible action regarding time of regular water and wastewater commission meetings.
Brought it back, it said 6 o'clock unless unanimous, so, new group,
It was asked to be put on the agenda.
I think it's new. Let's go to adjournment. New administration, they can set the time as what they want.
Not necessarily, there's.
No, I still feel it's up to this board.
Other,
I would like to.
other entities have different times, but what they're asking us to do is be unanimous.
I was always for 4 o'clock because it was employee friendly, but
I just like to throw out 5 o'clock as an alternative. And see if that,
Well, last time we discussed it, I thought 5 o'clock was fine too.
I would be all right with 5.
what about?
You gotta talk to the 3 new ones.
Working guys.
Good working, man. You would like 5:30 to 6.
Well, I think that's, that's been mandated, that's a unanimous decision, so.
You can't really overturn it unless we vote unanimously.
whatever a commission unanimously.
So you can make a motion in a second and have a vote on it if one person, then we stay at 6.
I'll make a motion for 5.
5 o'clock we got. Now we get to the auction. Do you have a second?
Second.
Jesse?
Yep.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We'll take roll call.
Alright, Alderperson Lehman,
Aye.
Newman,
Nay.
Commissioner Engel.
Need motions.
Huh? Oh, we just said.
Oh, this is for 5 or 6?
5.
I'll vote for 5.
Am I still going or do I?
I don't know. Well, if it has to be unanimous. if we have-
No, let's keep
Okay,
going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Sorry.
We
Coleman,
gotta do a roll.
Coleman.
No.
Briggs.
Aye.
Hasbrook.
Aye.
Bushky.
Aye.
Alright.
There, now let's put to bed. Motion to adjourn.
All right.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Newman got the second. Well, I was gonna say that before, and you three really need to get down
In the
there.
corner here.
You just learned so much. And
Hold on, I gotta. Here we go. It's been a while since I've been down there.
No, yeah.